What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel, and welcome to, if you are new, it's your girl, the real Theophania, Tiffany, but aka the real Theophania. Welcome back, and welcome to, if you are new here, the type of content that I post are sit down videos like this one and vlog videos as well. I love to do week in the life videos. As y'all can see, I posted a week in life video yesterday. Go check it out. It was my CNA program week in a life vlog. Go check that out. I'm about to talk to y'all right now about how I passed my CNA program with an A while working as a full-time employee in a hospital. We're going to talk about that. How did I finagle that? How did I finesse that? We're going to talk about what I did in order to retain the information and all of those things. Okay, so first things first, like I said, what you can expect on this channel are vlogs and sit down videos. A lot of my content is faith-based because I am a follower of the Lord Jesus Christ. If you guys are interested in my testimony, that will be linked somewhere around here, somewhere, somehow, some way. And go and check out For the Seeking podcast, which is in my description box, because that is the podcast that I share the gospel of Christ and my testimony to lost and wandering souls. Okay, so if that's something you're interested in, feel free to go check that out. And if you're interested in just, my little life as a Christian girl just navigating this world, feel free to hit the subscribe button. Okay, and so anyways, y'all, I'm going to talk about and discuss how I got through my CNA program. I'm sorry that I keep looking at myself because I really do look pretty. So sorry. Sorry. That's why sometimes I flip the camera. I turn my phone the other way so I'm not looking at myself. The camera lens is here. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. Because the skin is skinning. And if you guys want a skincare video, let me know in the comments down below. Okay. So I can show y'all what I've been using. But anywho, anyways, how did I get through my CNA program? So it was a 2-week program, Monday through Friday. I am a full-time employee at a hospital. I'm a patient sitter, and I work 7P to 7A. And so how would that work? Because girl, classes in the morning from 8:30 to 4:30. Well, from 8:30 to 3:30. And how you doing that? So the first day, as y'all can see in my vlog, I did go to work and I got off work and went to class that day. You didn't see any more footage because I could not I didn't really record too much in class the first 4 days. But I did, I think the 5th day is when I started to kind of record stuff because I think we started trivia. I don't know, we might have started trivia the following week. I don't remember, y'all. But a lot of the content I actually ended up deleting because I didn't even think I was going to post the vlog. I kind of was like, I don't really want to post the vlog. So a lot of content ended up deleted, which is why you saw day 1 and then it skipped to day 5 and then it skipped to the day before my final and then the final. Because I had deleted a lot of the footage. I was really sick, and so y'all didn't get to see that. I also was looking a hot mess. Okay, and was sounding a hot mess. So the days that I was just sounding real bad and my voice was tore up, my tonsils were swollen, you didn't see that content. The first day you kind of could hear it a little bit. If you paid attention, you can kind of hear it. It got worse throughout the day, and by the time I got to class, my voice was shot. But anywho's, your girl made it through. I worked that first day, and I ended up um I ended up having my supervisor check to see if I had PTO time, which I did. And I had enough PTO, more than enough PTO for me to take off the rest of that week, which was only one more day because I worked Saturday. I didn't mind working the weekends as long as I was not working the weekdays. So I took that Wednesday off with using my PTO. And then the following week, Monday, and I think it was another Wednesday or something like that, I took those 2 days off as well because I just wasn't going to be able to do it. It was just going to be impossible, especially the way that I felt that first day, getting off from a 12-hour shift and going in there for class from 8:30 to 3:30. It just wasn't happening. So I used my PTO time. So if you have PTO time, I highly encourage you. I know it's not ideal. I know you don't want to use your PTO time for that, but it's very clutch. If you feel like you can get through it, fine. But I know I was not doing that. I'm sorry, I wasn't doing it. So I used my PTO. So that's number one. I used my PTO time because it's only a 2-week program. So, and you only working 3 days out of the week. So I'm like, okay, great. I'm gonna just use the PTO for this one more day that I have, one more weekday, and then my other 2 weekdays for next week, and we good. And that's what I did. I did end up picking up a shift because my instructor ended up getting into a car accident, so they canceled class, and I ended up picking up a day because I needed that extra day, y'all. Because listen, I paid for this program out of pocket while still having to pay bills. My phone bill alone is $126. Okay. We're not even going to get into DTE. If you was from Detroit, you know about DTE. If you live in a house, you know DTE don't play. And we're not going to get into the tariff situation because Canada been on our head. So that let me tell you something. Trump, we have a conversation we need to have. At this point, I'm about to send you an email because what's popping, bruh? What's going on? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Anyway, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on. Anywho's, yeah, I had to pay bills while paying for this program, and that it's not cheap. That's why I don't understand why people was in there playing, because I'm like, are y'all crazy? We paying for this. Y'all do know that, right? Moving on. How did I retain the information? Let's talk about it. So I don't know what type of book y'all use. I'm gonna show y'all the book by Hartman's. I have the workbook and the actual book. Okay, so our instructor went over the chapters in class with us. So we went through 2 chapters a day. We had 2 exams a day. So the first day, of course, we didn't have an exam. The first day we went through chapters 1 and 2. Chapter 2 is thick. Chapter 2 is a really thick chapter, y'all. In chapter 2 is simply about, I think it's long-term care. Foundations of resident care. It's very simple information, but it's a lot of information. It's thick. Okay, you don't want to skip it just because it's simple information. I made sure I read it. It took me maybe 4 hours to read chapters 1 and 2. To be honest with you, I could have got through it quicker. I am a fast reader, but I could have got through it quicker, but I kept taking breaks because I'm like, listen, I ain't read nothing educational in a long time outside of the Bible. The Bible is interesting. It's the living word of God. I'm excited to read that. But this, I don't really want to do this. Okay. So I'm like, okay, the old me that didn't like school was starting to kick in. But I also, at the same time, this is something I'm interested in. This is something I'm excited about. So I'm like, okay, let's do it. So I read it because there's some very less exciting stuff in here that's like, okay, whatever. And chapter 2 was one of them chapters. But as y'all can see, I got highlights in here. I think it's very important for you to highlight things, especially the bolded words. The bolded words, read that stuff, highlight that stuff. I encourage you to read the guidelines. It's going to say guidelines, and there's going to be a green G next to it. It's a green heading, as you can see. You want to read that because those are going to be the things that's going to be on the tests, right? So I definitely read that. Paid attention to any type of like figures that they put in there, because underneath them they would have certain information that I realized was on the test. Okay. Stuff like knowing your different signs and all of that. No zodiac, we not that was lame. Airborne precaution, droplet precaution, contact precaution, knowing the difference between them. Shout out to the fact that I work in a hospital already, because even in EVS I had to learn about that because we're going into rooms that are precaution. There was this room had somebody in there with COVID, or this room had somebody in there who had sepsis, or whatever the case may be. So we had to know what type of precautions they were. Real quick, I'm gonna just drop this on y'all real fast because a lot of people did not know this, that COVID is considered a droplet and an airborne precaution. So that's why you have to wear an N95 mask. People was getting that wrong during our trivia. They didn't know that. I'm like, COVID is droplet and airborne. Airborne requires you to wear an N95 mask. is thicker. That's why if it's a droplet precaution, for instance, flu, if somebody sneezes or cough, that's how you're getting it. But the flu is not airborne. That's why you don't need an N95 mask. You can wear a surgical mask and be okay because it protects against droplet. You feel me? And so anyway, those things are important to know. All right. The mode of transition when it comes to or the chain. I mean the chain of transmission when it comes to how people end up getting sick and stuff like that, especially in the hospital. Those things are important to know. But anywho, I made sure that I highlighted things and read everything. Okay. Like I said, once again, especially the bolded stuff. The bolded stuff is going to be on your tests. You want to pay attention to that and read it and write it down. And if your instructor is doing lecture and they're going through this book, like my instructor was, she was letting us know, like, this is a test question. So I would write a star by it, highlight it, write it in my notes. I did keep a notebook, and this was my notebook right here. I kept a notebook. Okay. Kept a notebook. I have a little scripture on the front. God is within her. She will not fail. God will help her at day break of day. Psalms 46:5. Your girl definitely always have to include the Lord. I had a couple of other scriptures on the inside too. But yeah, I made sure that each chapter when we had lecture, I took notes. Okay. So very, very important to take notes. I'm the type of person where what helps me, the way I learn, is by taking notes, because when I write stuff down, it, in conjunction with auditory, when I'm hearing it being taught, I heard them say this already, and they explained it, and I wrote it down. Boom, I'm already okay. It's in my mind. When I go and read it for myself, boom, okay, I remember I heard that and I wrote that down. And now I'm reading it for myself, and the book explains stuff. So I'm, oh, okay, I know, okay, yep, I got that. All right, got you. I know the difference between a CVA and a TIA. All right, got you. Like, that's very, very, very important to read it, because when you read it, you open up your mind to be able to understand. Chapter 4 was probably my favorite chapter because it was talking about the body systems and stuff. And then yeah, so there's 10 chapters in this book. They're all very easy to me. Everybody was like, chapter 4 is the hardest chapter. Even my instructor was like, chapter 4 is going to be our hardest chapter. That was my easiest. I passed that test with 98%. Yeah, I passed all my tests with like 97 and 98%. I didn't get less than 3 wrong on any of my tests. So all of them was pretty easy to me. But that's because I paid attention during lecture. I took notes. I highlighted stuff in the book. And I also read through the chapters at the end. Well, after class was over and I went home, I read the chapters. And when she made the tests available to take, I did them immediately. Now, our teacher let us take our test at home, the first 4 tests, because we were behind because class got canceled on Tuesday. So she let us take our other tests. I did not use my notes because the information was up here. We couldn't use notes anyway. I wanted to show integrity and not take notes. But anyway, that's how I passed. I made sure I paid attention. Now, when it comes to the skills, let's get to the skill side. Now, there are a lot of skills in the book, and I want to say that's chapter 6 that goes over skills. Let me see. Personal care skills. Yes, chapter 6 goes over personal care skills. That's also a very thick chapter. Chapter 6 goes over personal care skills, but my professor, like I said, my instructor, we had access online. So there were skills videos. So in Detroit, we are taught to learn 17 skills. I've seen through other videos, especially like in Florida, because that's when I first was interested in CNA. I in the CNA program, I started going online sometime last year. I started going online, and there's a school in Florida, and They were talking about 22 skills. There's also a CNA. His name is I forgot his name. I forgot his name. Sev or something like that. There's a CNA on YouTube, and he kept talking about 22 skills. And I'm like, 22 skills. Okay, so I'm in my mind preparing myself to learn 22 skills. But when I got to class, mind you, these people are in different states, so that makes sense. Here in Detroit, Michigan, it's 17 skills that we are taught and that we have to know. Okay. Um Perineal care, which is the cleaning of the vag and the butt, catheter care, um urinary output and donning PPE. Well, the draining of a catheter bag, and you're going to measure the urinary output from that catheter bag, and donning and doffing PPE. That's all like one thing. Helping a patient eat, feeding, denture care, oral care, which is brushing the resident's teeth, modified bed bath, helping to dress a patient with a weak arm, ambulating with a gait belt, transferring a patient to a wheelchair, repositioning a patient, that's 11, helping a patient use the bedpan, also measuring the urinary output, that's 12. I feel like I'm missing some stuff. Obviously, I'm missing some stuff. um, Hand washing, 13. But there are skills that include hand washing. So anything where you're working with any type of bodily fluids is going to have hand washing included. Um, and I can't remember the other skills right now, y'all. But those are most of the skills, and you'll learn them all. Oh, foot care, that's 13. Range of motion, there's two different range of motions, so 14, 15. There's two range of motions: range of motion of the knee, range of motion of the elbow. Oh, 16, applying a anti-embolic stocking. And I don't know what the last one is. There's 17 skills, but I can't remember this. So that was 16 of the skills. I remember remember most of them. I don't remember. I don't know what I'm missing from the other one. But yeah, that's you got to know 17 skills. Oh, respirations. Respirations is 17. So yeah. Got to know 17 skills. And what helped me, because I passed my skills with 100%, y'all, what helped me with passing my skills, and I barely practiced them, which is crazy, because I say that I'm a hands-on person, but I don't really have to be hands-on. And once I do it one time, it's like, okay, but I'm really a visual person. I watch them do the skills. I watched what they did wrong, and then watching the videos, seeing what was done right. It's like, okay, I know not to do that. Also, I read the Michigan handbook. Read the handbook for your state because it goes over the skills, and it's going to tell you in bold letters, which you cannot miss because that will cause you to fail altogether. I almost failed. uh, because I forgot you cannot recontaminate your hands at any point after you wash your hands. Because that's the last step of the skill. And y'all almost failed because I forgot that I had towels that I did not put inside the wastebasket. Leave them towels there. That's just a couple points that they're gonna take off. Leave them towels there. Thank you, Jesus. I did not get docked. Okay. But I still ended up passing my skills with 100%. Girl, I was sick. I'm like, oh. And then I just, casually hit the hand hygiene real quick with the sanitizer just to make it look, you know what I'm saying? But I still ended up passing 100%. Y'all, I was like, oh, Tiffany, you can't recontaminate your hands. But anyway, um, yeah, so 17 skills in Detroit. I don't know what the 22 skills is in other places. I don't know what the other 17, 18, 19, 20, 22. That's five more skills. I don't know what the other five skills is, unless here in Michigan we condense them. Because, like I said, hand washing is you're only going to do 4 skills. So when she kept telling us like you have 4 skills that you have to know, or there's 4 skills that you're going to take during your skills exam, I'm like 4. I thought it was 5. Hand washing. But you're more than likely going to be given a skill that requires you to wash your hands anyway, like perineal care, catheter care, um, draining the urine bag, or helping the patient use a bedpan. Those type of things, you're going to have to do hand washing in it. So it's already included, if you get what I'm saying. Um, so anyways, that's how I learned my skills, by watching. Now again, if you are a more hands-on person and you like to actually get hands-on, sure. I don't like people watching me. And it was all of them standing around watching me. Now, granted, I did still step up to the plate. And I still, even when it came to us doing verses, I won all my verses. I didn't lose not one of my verses. And I tell y'all, I barely practiced for real. I won my verses when it came to put on the embellic stocking, doing oral care. What else? I can't remember I think that might have been the only 2 verses that I did. Like I was versing somebody else. So it was like speed related. And if you did everything. Oh, there was another verses that my first one I did was helping a patient with, I think it was catheter care. I think it was catheter care. Not only did I not miss anything, but I won that verses. So I won all my verses, like, and I watched the videos. I read the Michigan handbook. So read your state's handbook. Your instructor is going to give you access to those things. And like I said, she allowed us access to her online program because she has a hybrid program where people are online. She gave us access to that. We watched her videos of her doing the skills. We watched, and we had access to the Michigan handbook. So I was watching them videos as much as I possibly could, and I read that handbook. And I most importantly paid attention to what was in the bolded letters so that I would not miss nothing and end up failing because of the bolded step. So, okay, and it's only so many steps that you can miss in a skill before you end up failing. So that's why it's so important to pay attention during your actual class when y'all are in the lab doing your skills. And it's important, if you have access to videos to watch them videos, and read the handbook. If you don't have access to videos, read the handbook. I tell you, if you read the handbook, you will save yourself during your skills exam. Read the handbook. Okay. And so that's how I passed, y'all. Simply applied myself. I set a goal. When the day the class started, I sat there, I prayed, and I was talking to the Lord, and I'm like, Lord, my goal is to get a 95% or higher. Open my mind to understand the information. I want to be able to understand the information. I don't want to just memorize it to pass the tests. I want to understand the information so that when I go to the state exam, I know I know it all. It's not that I'm trying to, I got to remember what I learned in class. No, I know it. So when I see it on the test, I know it. When it's time for me to do my skills, I know what to do. You know what I'm saying? So I'm telling y'all, apply yourself. Apply yourself. If you go in there with a defeated mindset, like so many people in my class did, a lot of people in my class had a defeated mindset from jump. And that's why a few of them failed, y'all. It sucked to see. It did. It sucked to see. A few of them failed. Um, yeah. And I almost didn't post my blog because of that fact, that one of the girls that sat next to me, she was cheating the entire time. I shared that with y'all in the blog. She was cheating the whole time. We had 2 exams to do every day. We started doing the exams in class. Like I said, the first 4 exams we did at home because we were behind. She was using her book then. Then she started getting clever. When it was time to come in class and do the assignments, to do our exams, she was already having her tests opened up. So if y'all don't know about Google Classroom, they use Google Form for tests. So they're pre-made tests using Google Form. You can open up a Google form, you can fill in your selections without submitting it, and it'll still be there. So that's what she was doing, because we had, okay, there's 25 questions on this exam, 35 questions on the next exam. You mean to tell me you're finishing 60 plus questions in like 5 minutes? She already had them pre-filled because she was cheating, using her book at home, filling in the answers and submitting it when she got to class. And she was cheating the day of the final. I did say something because that was not fair. I just watched like 5 people fail. And a couple of them people was trying, because a couple of them was cheating. But a couple of people was actually trying, applying themselves, not cheating. They still end up failing, and you pass her. And then one of the girls failed their skills. And when I went to graduation, homegirl, she thought she was slick. She didn't call their names during the actual ceremony or whatever. If everybody coming up there getting their certificate, she made sure she didn't call their names. So their parents and the people that came with them was peed off, and they was going off in the hallway. And at the end of it, she comes walking over. She gives one of the girls a certificate, but this girl failed her skills though. So how you giving her a certificate and she failed her skills? I wasn't going to post the vlog for that because there was no integrity, and I didn't like that at all. And I was like, I don't even know if I want to post this vlog. I don't even really want to shout out her, and I'm not going to shout out the program. If you want to go if you recognize the school by what I posted, fine. But I'm not going to shout it out because I thought that was not right for people who actually put forth the effort and tried, and they spent their money. You know what I'm saying? It was bold. And yeah, anyway, that's that. But anywho's, that's how I passed, y'all. I took advantage of my PTO so that I could actually be focused, so I wouldn't be so tired during the program. I applied myself, I read the book, and I also encourage y'all to actually use the workbook. The workbook has a lot of the information that's going to be on the test that you take, so I highly encourage you to use the workbook. If you don't like to read so much, that will help you. Even though you're going to probably miss some information, because the workbook don't go over every single cubit. The workbook don't go over every single piece of information that's in the chapter. So I still encourage you to read the chapters. But if you do the workbook, for instance, chapter 3, open up chapter 3. Oh, look, I'm already on chapter 3 in the workbook. Open up the workbook, and what it's asking, go through, because it starts like section 1, identifying basic human needs. Section 1, identifying basic. It starts off with the same sections, and it flows through the chapter. So go through, write that stuff down. That will help you to study. This is a perfect study guide, actually. The workbook is like a perfect study guide. And you will probably get no less than a B by using just the workbook by itself. So I highly encourage you to use the workbook, but I do encourage you to still read the actual book. But anyways, y'all, I hope that helped you. If you are looking into a CNA program, that's what helped me to pass my program with an A. It wasn't hard. It's not hard if you actually apply yourself, but it's difficult when you are going into it with a defeated mindset and you are all like overwhelmed because, oh, this seems like so much information. If you psych yourself out, you're going to fail. I'm just going to be honest with you. If you psych yourself out, you're going to fail. If you are lazy, you're going to fail. If you don't read that Michigan handbook or whatever state you're in, to read them skills, if you're not actually getting hands-on doing the skills and you don't have access to videos to see how the skills are performed, you're going to fail. So read the handbook when it comes to the skills and pay attention to the bolded steps. Because if you miss those bolded steps, you're going to fail off rip. Okay, so I hope that helps y'all. Until next time, make sure that you guys like and subscribe, comment down below. Any new CNAs, anybody that's interested in the CNA field, what's good? What's up? What's going on? I'm going to keep you guys. I like doing this type of content. This is fun. So yeah. So anywho, I will see y'all in another video. Until next time.